right? Now, why the ATM business? I know a lot of you guys are probably asking this question right now, like, Juan, why would we start an ATM business right now in 2025? We're going digital, we're going cashless. Like, you guys are probably wondering all of this, right? Well, let me put it this way. Number one, an ATM business, it's still valid because businesses all across the country still accept cash. That's number one, right? Number two, the businesses that still accept cash also accept card, yes. They also accept Apple Pay, yes. But all of these merchant services companies, like all of these credit card companies, Visa, MasterCard, all of the big credit card companies, they charge the merchants, the business owners, merchant fees. And a lot of the times, guys, that fee ranges from anywhere from 4 to as high as like 10% is what I've heard, right? Think about it, guys. If a business owner is doing about $100,000 a month in revenue, right? And just revenue. That's not after expenses. That's not after paying employees. That's just revenue, right? The merchant companies automatically take anywhere from 4 to 10% of that. And do the math, guys. If a business is doing $100,000 a month in revenue, and let's just say their monthly expenses are 50,000, right? They're still paying anywhere from 4 to $10,000 a month out of their revenue to the merchant companies, the merchant, like the credit card machine companies, right? And that is exactly why the ATM business is still lucrative till this day, is because there's a lot of mom and pop shops. There's a lot of businesses that are small, right? They're not franchises, they're not freaking big corporate companies where they can set up certain deals with these credit card companies because the revenue is high. So when you got a mom and pop shop in your corner, right down the street, right across town, they can't negotiate with the merchant companies and be like, give me a better deal because they're not doing enough revenue. They're not doing enough numbers. So then what happens is they're stuck with paying anywhere from 4 to 10% on revenue because their business isn't big enough. And this is why businesses still, till this day, would like an ATM in their business. Is because what happens is that when you allow the customer to withdraw cash from an ATM and pay a $3 fee and pay the business with cash, the business owner doesn't have to pay anything on that cash transaction. Well, besides tax, of course, right? But they don't have to worry about paying money on top of that, which comes out of their pocket, right? Which is why a lot of business owners, a lot of businesses, a lot of mom and pop shops still prefer an ATM. And that's just the business side of things, guys. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about how you can benefit from an ATM. And that could be from simply, it's a simple, boring business. You do not need anything flashy, anything crazy, just a simple ATM machine, a business on where to put it, and this business will start to run itself as long as you fill it with cash. And the reason why I chose ATMs over vending machines, I chose ATMs over Airbnb, I chose ATMs over Amazon and all kinds of online stores and whatnot, is because the upfront cost was less and the management was less. I literally drive to my bank, I pull out 5 grand, and that 5 grand, I go and fill up two of my ATMs within less than 2 hours. And these two ATMs for the rest of the week, for the rest of the month, are consistently making me money, and that's it, right? With any other business, you're doing product research, you're talking to companies or manufacturers overseas, you're dealing with tenants, you're dealing with management, you're dealing with inventory. You're if your product doesn't sell on a vending machine, no shame to the vending machine. I got buddies in the business. I know people still make good money on it. Every business makes money, by the way. So I'm not throwing shade on any business, right? Every business works for everybody as long as you're willing to make it work, right? But for me, it was just the simplicity about it. And I know, well, at least for me, I prefer simple. I don't like to do all the crazy stuff, right? So as long as I can work with something that's simple and I can scale it, I'm good, right? So the reason why I went with ATMs was because I didn't have to worry about inventory, right? It's a low startup capital in order for you to start, right? Literally 7 to 9K, you could get your first ATM, your company up and running, your bank, the location, the processing. You could get everything set up with as little as 7 to 9K, right? Also, No experience needed. You don't have to be tech savvy. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, my keypad is out or my card reader's out. I gotta freaking be a rocket scientist to figure this out. You could hire or even call the manufacturer and get that solved over the phone. It's that simple to work with an ATM, guys. Remember, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the smartest flower in the garden here, right? I told you guys, I dropped out of college simply because they were making me use Photoshop. And I didn't know how to use Photoshop. I never learned how to do it. I was never tech savvy. So when I thought about ATMs, I'm like, shit, how am I gonna freaking troubleshoot these machines? How am I gonna do it? But then once I started to like really look into it and really learn from like people, mentors of mine now, I was like, yeah, you know what? This is actually very simple. My 6-year-old could do it, right? So there's no experience needed. And the beauty about it is just consistent passive income. Like I said, once you put an ATM on location and you fill it up with some cash, as long as people are using your ATM and pulling out cash and paying you a fee, you make money. And that's exactly why I chose the ATM business. So let's get into how you make money, right? Because this is probably one of the most important parts for a lot of you is how do you even make money with these machines? As you can see here, guys, I got 3 Hyosung Halo 2s. I used to love these machines, which is why you see 3 in one picture. But as of recently, guys, the Hyosungs have been giving a lot of issues coming out of the manufacturer, which is why you see a lot of my clients start using the Gen Megas. And the reason why the Gen Megas are so popular is because they're super, super reliable. So I always say this: the Hyosungs, they look nice, they look modern. Uh, in my opinion, they look way better than the Gen Mega G2500s. But the G2500 by far does a better job than the Hyosung tech wise. Which is why I always like to tell my clients, hey, right, would you rather have a pretty ATM that's going to give you problems, or would you have, a slightly, not the greatest looking ATM, but it's going to freaking kick ass. It's going to be a workhorse. It's going to fucking make you money, right? Obviously, they're going to choose the Gen Megas. But these are the 3 Hyosung Halo 2s that I've had at one time because I'm a big believer that you have to have at least 1 or 2 ATMs at your home in case you land a last minute location, which that's another story for another time. But going back to making money, right? Example, the average fee in the United States of America, and typically within Canada as well, is around $3.50, right? That's the average fee that an ATM charges. Now, of course, if you go into the dispensaries, you go into the bars, you go into the nightclubs, the gentlemen's clubs, those type of businesses, then the fee goes up. Even events, like if you have like a toy show or a car show, whatever type of event in your town, in your city, you could put an ATM for the meantime and then have that ATM make you five, six, seven, eight, nine, $10 per transaction, right? Now, the average fee, most of your locations are going to be charging anywhere from $3 to $4 per transaction. Now, the average ATM, right, does anywhere from 80 to 100, 150 transactions, right? I don't know why this says 100, 100, $200, right? But the average ATM does anywhere from 100, I would say 100 transactions, right? Let's stick with 100 just to make math simple here because I'm not the smartest. 100 transactions a month at a $3.50 is anywhere from $350 to however much you charge. Remember, you charge $4, you charge $5, that's 400, that's $500 a month that one ATM makes, right? Now, does that mean that you're capped at only 100 transactions? No. I have an ATM right now at a cash only restaurant that's doing 1,000 transactions a month. Do the math. I'm charging $3.50. That's $3,500 a month that ATM makes. Now, remember, we're talking about average here, right? So, does that mean that every location you find is only going to be at 100 transactions or 80 or 200? No. Every location is different. It all varies on the location. The ATM business, just like anything else, Airbnb, right? Real estate, it's all based on location. No one's gonna rent a house across the street from freaking gunshots, right? They're gonna rent the house across town in the nice neighborhood with no freaking no bad ratings on it, right? Same thing with an ATM business. If you put an ATM inside of a barber shop with one barber, it's going to do a lot less than a barbershop with 10 barbers. So it's the same thing. It all varies on location. But going back to the numbers, right? Let's just say you have your ATM doing anywhere from 100. Let's just stick with the the slide here. Anywhere from 100 to 200 transactions a month at $3.50. You're making anywhere from $350 to $700 a month on average, right? Let's say that you pay the business owner a percentage that adds up anywhere from $50 to $100 a month. Well, you're netting after you pay the business owner, you're netting $300 to $600 a month per location. Now, guys, I always tell this to all of my students. If you're going to start the business and you're just looking to start with one, and not only start with one, but staying with one, only keeping one, I don't recommend you to start this business. Don't. I would recommend you to go do something else. Invest it into some crypto. And if you're just going to let, 7 9G sit in there, you're better off just investing it into crypto, right? But if you're looking to start a business and you're looking to actually scale the business, then I would recommend you to invest into this business. Because guys, this business is not going to get you're not going to get rich quick. You're not going to be financially free by next month. That's a guarantee, right? But if you keep scaling, if you keep the consistency, if you keep applying what you've learned to scale your business, then eventually you will get to the 10 locations. You will make $3,000 to $6,000 a month on top of either your 9 to 5 or just in general, right? So it's all about consistency. It's all about applying pressure for your business and investing in yourself, right? And at the end of the day, like I said, I always say, if you want to start this business, you better be ready to scale because that's where you're going to make the money, right? And the beauty about it, it's passive income, right? Who could complain about an extra few $1,000 a month, right? So, like I said, guys, consistency lands more deals. You're going to land more deals with staying consistent, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, most people, they quit early. They give up, right? The first few no's, the average person runs. They're like, all right. They're like, oh my God, I give up. Oh my God, this is hard. Oh my God, I'm not good in sales. I give up, right? And a lot of most people as well, a lot of them treat the business like a side hustle. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna put in maybe an hour or two, and then I'm gonna go play some video games, right? Or they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna go put in an hour or two, and then I'm gonna go sit on the couch and watch some Netflix. Oh, I'm gonna put in an hour or two, I'm gonna go to sleep, or I'm gonna go on a nice date, or I'm gonna go to the mall and I'm gonna go buy this, that, and the third, right? Most people do that. The average people do that, right? The average person also doesn't learn or isn't willing to learn. Now, what does that mean? Right? Remember what I said earlier, guys. You are who you surround yourself with. If you're hanging around people who don't invest in themselves, who don't prioritize themselves, who work a 9 to 5, who go out every weekend, who drink all the time, they do everything that you don't want to do. All you're doing is just surrounding yourself around those type of people, and eventually you're going to be the next one. But if you surround yourself around the right people that are constantly improving, constantly, right, getting better, they're growing, they're making more money, then you're going to be the next person to make more money. You're going to be the next person to grow. You're going to be the next person to be in a much better position because that is your environment. That is who you surround yourself around, right? The average person stays doing research. They stay on YouTube University. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing research. There's nothing wrong with looking up information and being on YouTube, right? Watching this live training right now as well, or the replay, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, guys, if you keep doing that over and over and over and over and over again, and you're not putting action, then guess what's going to happen? Nothing changes, right? Because at the end of the day, guys, there's two types of people, right? There's people in motion and there's people who take action. The people in motion, they're doing the research, they're looking at guides, they're looking at all the resources they can, but they don't take the first step and they're just chasing their tail. But the people who take action, they do the research, they go on YouTube University, they go on Juan's live training, they jump on a call with Juan or Juan's team, they finally get started, they finally invest in themselves, and boom, boom, they started their business. They're making passive income. They're growing. That is what most people do. The people that are not average. So don't be average, guys. Do not be average, right? Here's what I did. Here's what I did in order for me to get to 45 plus ATMs, right? I prospected 3 to 5 locations every single day. Now, to be fair, whenever I started my business, I had already quit my job. So I had all the time in the world because I wasn't working 8 hours a day anymore. So I had time to prospect locations, and I would prospect a minimum of 3 to 5 locations a day. And back then, I didn't have all of the resources like the online prospecting and the sales training. So I would literally go door to door. Nowadays, you guys have so many resources that you could do this all from your phone. You could do this all from your office. You could do this all from home, right? But what I did, I prospect at least 3 to 5 locations every single day. And every weekend, I checked in with the new spots. I checked in with the current spots. I followed up with all of the people that were telling me maybe. I followed up with all the people that were telling me, let me think about it. I followed up with all the people that were like, man, I need to wait for my partner to get back in town. I followed up with everybody, guys, because at the end of the day, the follow up is where the money's at. I guarantee you right now that you can go out and speak to 10 different people. And out of the 10 people, most of them are going to either not be interested or they're going to give you the let me think about it or I'm not sure, let me talk to my partner, right? The average person would forget about that and keep moving. But the people that are not average, the people that are hungry, the people that are ambitious, the successful ones will go back and be like, have you had a chance to talk to your partner? Have you thought about it? What's going on? I noticed that you got people walking out of your door. I noticed you use Square. I noticed that you pay all these fees in processing. Let me help you. Right? The money is in the follow up, right? Coming back and showing them that you're consistent, coming back and showing them that you're committed on helping them out with whatever issue they're having, if they're having any, right? And that's how you're gonna land locations. That's how you're gonna be able to scale your business, right? At the end of the day, I showed up with purpose. How can I help you, Mr. Business Owner? How can I help you make more money? How can I help you save more money? How can I help your customers? How can we provide your customers another convenience? Access to their cash right away. You have to show up with the purpose. If you just show up and you're like, hey, Mr. Business Owner, I got a free ATM. Do you want it? They're going to be like, no. Because at the end of the day, no one wants an ATM. What they want is for you to help them make money or help them save money. And that's what it's all about, right? So that's what I did in order for me to get to 45 machines, right? Now, it's a numbers game, guys, right? Repetition builds confidence. It's kind of like going to the gym. You're not going to go to the gym one time, lift a few weights, and have the freaking, you know, bodybuilder muscles, right? You're not going to have the abs and everything else that you want. But it's about going to the gym consistently and doing it repeatedly, consistent and keep the repetition going, increase, right, your weights, in this case increase the amount of locations you prospect. And as you practice it and practice it and practice it and practice it, you build that confidence, because a lot of people say, I'm not motivated, everyone tells me no, so I lost my motivation. But it's not the motivation that's killing you from being able to go out and prospect more locations. It's not the motivation that's hurting you and not allowing you to land more locations. It's the consistency. It's the fact that you're not staying consistent, because consistency is what's going to bring your motivation back. Because guess what? If you're consistent, you're going to eventually get a yes. You're going to eventually land a location. And guess what happens when you get your first yes? Guess what happens when that business owner signs on that dotted line? You regain that confidence. And once you regain that confidence, you start again the next day like if it was a brand new day. And that's what it's all about. It's all about repetition. It's all about consistency. That's where you're going to get confidence. And once you gain that confidence, guys, confidence closes deals. A business owner is going to want to work with you if you show up as an expert and you show them exactly how you're going to help them save money. If you're going to show them exactly how you're going to make them a little bit more money. That's what business owners want to see. A business owner doesn't want to see somebody that walks in, head down, anxious, nervous, stuttering, a business owner is not going to want to work with that type of person. So you have to have that confidence. And at the end of the day, you're only going to be able to get that confidence by consistently going in and out of those businesses and getting the word out, pitching every person that you can, right? Don't overthink it, guys. You gotta outwork it, right? You gotta outwork it. Every no is gonna eventually be a yes.